As with the Boston Tea Party in our previous video in this series, Hancock Igniting the Revolution, where the colonists were forced between submitting and allowing the tea to touch American soil or destroy it, the colonists were now forced via British government action to choose between two paths. On the one hand, they could submit and accept parliamentary rule over themselves without representation in that body, as well as any penance Parliament required for their act of rebellion. Or they could officially cut ties with their motherland and fight one of the most powerful empires in history for independence. There no longer seemed any option of a middle ground. As Thomas Jefferson would sum up the state of things at this point to one of his friends, now returned to England, in an earlier part of this contest, our petitions told the king that from our king there was but one appeal. The admonition was despised, and that appeal forced on us. To undo his empire, he has but one more truth to learn, that after colonies have drawn the sword, there is but one step more they can take. That step is now pressed upon us by the measures adopted. Believe me, dear sir, there is not in the British Empire a man who more cordially loves a union with Great Britain than I do. But by the God that made me, I will cease to exist before I yield to a connection on such terms as the British Parliament propose. And in this, I think I speak the sentiments of America. We want neither inducement nor power to declare and assert a separation. It is will alone which is wanting, and that is growing apace under the fostering hand of our king. One bloody campaign will probably decide everlasting our future course. If our winds and waters should not combine to rescue their shores from slavery, and General Howe's reinforcements should arrive in safety, we have hopes he will be inspired to come out of Boston and take another drubbing, and we must drub him soundly before the scepter tyrant will know we are not brutes to crouch under his hands and kiss the rod which he deigns to scourge us. With no other way forward but subservience, over the following months, one by one the colonies began to fall in line with the notion of breaking away from the British Empire, with North Carolina on April 12, 1776 being the first to officially empower their delegates to vote for independence, followed by Rhode Island becoming the first to openly declare independence on May 4th. Nevertheless, as summer approached, debate over the matter was reportedly extremely heated, with on May 15th, Maryland's delegation even walking out of the proceedings on passing a preamble as a precursor to an official Declaration of Independence. Nevertheless, 9 out of the 13 colonies voted for the preamble and it was passed. That very day, the Virginian legislature also instructed their delegation to propose to that respectable body to declare the United Colonies free and independent states. And so it was that on June 7th, Richard Henry Lee of Virginia officially proposed just such a resolution, ultimately seconded by John Adams. Resolved that these United Colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved.